mention a number of points, and my brother has spoken a lot about the fiqh of Ramadan. I think one of the things we can appreciate is when we talk about Ramadan, the brother didn't mention one thing. He didn't mention one thing. That is, the month of Ramadan has got nothing to do with the poor people inside Africa. You see how many people they say that? I remember I'd done it myself. I was part of a documentary once, I remember when I was 9 years old, with the BBC. And they stopped me outside the mosque and they said, Ramadan, what's it about? I said, about the poor people inside Africa. Because this is what's injected to us via the education system. Living within the West, they give you a totally distorted understanding of Islam. They'll even give you a symbol which doesn't even belong to you. I remember in my school, they used to have a big board, great religions of the world. So you've got a candle, you've got a star, you've got a cross. And for the Muslims, they give us a moon and a star. You can see how detached we become. The point I'm trying to make is how detached we come from the actual meaning of Islam, for what it means for me. Let alone the imsak, let alone when it comes to the month of Ramadan. So the month of Ramadan, it needs to be understood. When we talk about Ramadan, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said inside the hadith, he said that Ramadan is shahrullah. It is the month of Allah Azza wa Jal. It is the month for Allah Azza wa Jal. And it's the month, as we said, it's a month where you're going to obtain the taqwa. And what is the taqwa? Rasulullah, again he explained it to us. It's not a matter of we need to guess it, we need to make it up, or we need to look it up on the Wikipedia, or Sheikh Google, or Sheikh Yahoo, or Sheikh Yahoo. No. It's there within the Quran and within the Sunnah. It's all been laid down for us black and white, if we just open it up. The taqwa, as he mentioned, he said, at-taqwa ha-huna, ha-huna, ha-huna. And he pointed 3 times towards his heart. Meaning the taqwa, it has a particular place, but the taqwa is not limited to that. Because remember, anything which is a function of the heart will be manifest on the tongue and will be manifest on the limbs. So when people, they say, when you give da'wah to your friends, I'm sure, and you say to them, Yaki, when are you going to fix yourself up? Yaki, you don't know what's inside my heart. Only Allah can judge, innit? Only Allah can judge, and then after that, what's he doing? PDC. He's doing all of this type of business. Grime daily, haram music, haram haircut, haram smoking, haram sniffing, as the brother was saying, some of that white stuff. He's doing all of the haram in the world. And it doesn't really matter. Why? Because that's his qareen. His own individual shaitan is closely with him. And that's another point important for us to mention when it comes to the month of Ramadan. That we said, what is chained in the month of Ramadan? Who can remember? Shaitan is chained. The shayateen, they are chained. And the gates of, where? Hackney? Or Brixton Market. The gates of Jahannam, they're chained. Yeah? However, if we go back to the point I was making earlier, but when we started at the very beginning, I said to you that look, there are going to be some people who are still going to sin. It may be I might sin, it might be you might sin as well. So we don't want to just point the finger at everybody else. But we may sin in the month of Ramadan. How can that really be the case? How can it be that even though the hadith it said that the shaitan he's chained and the gates of Jahannam they're chained, then how is it that I still end up doing a sin? It's not just because of the hadith that I mentioned earlier on about the sins being like the black spots on the heart and the heart it becomes black. It's because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he informed us that each and every one of us, we have something called a qareen. Qareen is your own individual shaitan. What? No way. We don't have any individual shaitan. Yes, he's with you all of the time. All of the time. More closer to you, in fact, than your wife. You know, it doesn't matter if you've been married for about 30, 40 years. There's certain moments which you just won't share with your wife. Okay, what's the most you're going to share with your wife without to, expose anybody? You'll have breakfast with her, you go for a walk with her, you'll have dinner, you'll make a baby, you'll have a baby, then you'll make another baby, then you'll have a baby, then you'll tell her you got a second wife. You do all of these things. But there's certain things you won't disclose to her. Certain things you just won't participate with her. What? Going to the toilet. Which husband is going to do that? I'm going to go and do a fart in the toilet bathroom. Number one, you fancy coming along, watching me? No. You're not going to do that. When you have a shower, yeah, I don't know, maybe some people have shower with their wife, but something, generally something you're going to do on your own, especially if you're in a rush like me. When I'm leaving the house, I'm quickly rushing, I'm always late, yeah? Getting ready. It's something that you're going to do on your own. However, the qareen is going to be with you 24 hours a day. And it's good for some people, it's going to be close to them, and some people it's going to be far away from them. Let's look to what happened with Aisha, al-Mu'mineen. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just to inform you about how this is the reality, that there is a qareen with us. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came home once and he saw Aisha, al-Mu'mineen, radiyallahu anha. And she was crying, and she was upset. Well, she looked upset anyway. Is it raining? SubhanAllah, so much. Let's talk about crying, it started raining. So, and it was, she was upset. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he asked her, and he said, why is it that you're crying? You know, if you come home and you find your wife crying, I know some brothers are going to give two monkeys crying. Got nothing to do with me. What's for dinner? Who cares about that? Where's the kebab? Where's the curry? Where's the food? We'll come home, you ain't even cook nothing for me? And then he gets out the baseball bat. Don't do that. Don't beat your wife up just because of a kebab. Come on, ya Sheikh. Don't do that. You know what she said? And it's very beautiful in fact as well. She said, he said to her, were you worried about me? Is it because you were concerned about me? She said, how can someone like me not be jealous for someone like you? And you're Rasulullah. It's nice to have a wife like that. Not to come home, where were you? I was at a talk with the Waleed. What? Again? But, you know what I mean? Divorce. She wants to divorce you because you come to my talk. Yeah? She said, how can someone like me be jealous, not be jealous for someone like you? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he didn't return it with kindness. He didn't turn around and say, oh really, Jazakallah khair, mashallah. In fact, you know what he said? He said the opposite. He said, verily there's a shaitan with you. What? And Aisha, she never got upset. She said, is it the case? He said, indeed. Everybody, they have their own individual shaitan. That shaitan would be sometimes, for some people, it's close to him, next to him, behind him, in front of him, but not above him. Why is that? Because Allah is the one above everything. So shaitan is not above you. For some people, the shaitan, the qareen, will be as close as their jugular vein, be running through their blood, constantly whispering to you, constantly telling you these things. Aisha, she said, oh Rasulullah, is that the case? Does everybody have this qareen? He said, indeed. He said, she said, even you, Ya Rasulullah? He said, even me, except I made my one a Muslim. My qareen has been made Muslim. And as for the qareen of Umar al-Khattab, when he walks inside the room, his qareen, it runs out of the other room. His own individual shaitan runs out of the other room. When he walks on the road, his qareen, it crosses the road. But for you and me, does it really do that? Does it really do that? You know, I'm going to talk about this next week, but there's something that we need to do. As Muslims, as brothers, we need to do. And I hope we can do this sooner rather than later. Is that we need to get to know ourselves. We need to get to know ourselves and examine our own selves. Like become like MI5 officer for your own self. Do a checklist and find out what's wrong in your own life. Do a checklist and find out where is it that I'm slipping up. Where is it that I'm messing up. And you know when the best way to do that? The best time to do that is at the night time. By the rahmah of Allah Azza wa Jal, if Allah, He grants you the tawfiq, you'll be able to find out who you really are. Because it's very nice, I can sit here with nice kameez, or you can wear a nice thobe, and come here, we can pray, we can fast, and we can do that in any mosque, we can do that everywhere. But on your own is when you really know your own self. Just take the time and know your own self. When you're on your own, are you a man of the Qur'an? Are you a man of praying? Are you a man of seeking ilm, learning lecture? Or is it like EastEnders throughout the whole night? Like some people, they do that. Sunday I can't come to the talk. Why? Omnibus is on, ya Sheikh. Sheikh Omnibus is on, yeah? Who's Sheikh Omnibus? Sheikh Omnibus is the 4-hour Qiyamul Layl he's going to have with the Queen Vic, yeah? He's going to watch all of the episodes of EastEnders which he missed all throughout the week. Or he's going to watch this program, or that program, or the tennis, or the football. Honestly, I find tennis boring. I just change the channel just to check out, where is the big hype about this tennis? There's two guys, just what, one hitting a ball, one hitting a ball. What'd you get out of it? You don't get paid. You don't get no money. What'd you learn out of it? What is it? What's so interesting? At the most, all I learned was a couple of advertisements. Adidas, they got some water, some mineral water. This one's apparently very nice. This one is from a mountain, from the Alps or something like that. Apart from that, what's so good about the tennis? What's so good about the football? Rather, you want to be in a majlis where you're seeking ilm. You want to be around brothers which benefit you. That's why Rasulullah said, a Muslim, he's on the religion of his friend, the company that you keep. A mu'min is like a mirror to another mu'min, to another believer. He's going to reflect upon him the kind of company that you're going to keep. So that qareen, Rasulullah said, everybody, they have their own individual shaitan. So what we can do in the month of Ramadan is, as we said, the month of Ramadan is a month of taqwa, a month where we can obtain this taqwa. It's like a fuel for us in order to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. Ali ibn Abu Talib, when he spoke about the taqwa, he said the taqwa is al-khawf min al-jalil وعمل بالتنزيل وكانت بالقليل واستداد يوم الرحيم. He mentioned 4 points. I'm not going to go through all 4 of them. We'll go, otherwise we end up in the whole topic of taqwa. But he said al-khawf min al-jalil, meaning to have fear. Al-khawf of Allah al-jalil, Allah Almighty. Meaning when? Meaning in the public and in the seclusion as well. You see, getting to know your own self. When you're on your own, do you fear Allah Azza wa Jal? When you're in the public, do you fear Allah Azza wa Jal? Sadly, we find nowadays we don't fear Allah, not in the public and not in the private, but neither. As practicing brothers, we find it. We do injustice towards our brothers. We backbite them, slander them, which is very easy to do, by the way, yeah? But we do something even, not worse than that, but something which is disgusting as that as well. Is that to each other's faces, we humiliate each other, belittle one another, make jokes, make fun of one another. And they find there's a lot of brothers that do that, sadly. They might not do the other stuff. And they think, well, it's all right. I didn't say it behind your back. I said it to your face. What, you call me a donkey to my face? Yeah. Well, that's not good. It's not from the character of a Muslim. So we have to take everything from Islam. Not just the aqidah, and not just the manhaj, which many people, they jump and they lump and they say, oh, I got the right aqidah, right manhaj. But where's your character? When I look to your character, am I reminded of Uthman? Am I reminded of Ali ibn Abu Talib? Am I reminded of the Sahaba? Or do I reminded of some jahil guy from the street who's still got all of his bad habits? And I don't mean what he wears or his hairstyle or anything like that, because those things are very superficial. They're the artificial makeup which anybody can change about their own selves. But like I said, know your own self. When you're on your own, you can examine your own self, have this self-examination. This is me. Look in the mirror and look at yourself and say, that is me, basically. And the way to do that is two ways. As I said to you, number one, by the rahmah of Allah Azza wa Jal, in the night time, Allah Azza wa Jal will expose you to yourself about who you really are. But there's even something better than that, which is what the first point really it should be, is opening up the book of Allah. In the book of Allah, there's a description about who you really are. Mu'min, somebody truthful, somebody who's a fasik, somebody who's a zandiq, kafir, munafiq, mushrik, pagan, whatever it is. There's all descriptions being given there. Are you someone who resembles the character of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq? Are you somebody who resembles Umar al-Khattab? Ask your own self. It's not a matter of confession time. Yeah, by the way, it's me, I'm like that. Oh really? Okay, let's beat him up. No. 10 lashes for him. No. It's a matter of examining your own self and check your own self. When you hear that, look, Umar al-Khattab, his qareen used to run out of the room. Now look to your own self. Where do you find the qareen? And there's no point in asking the qareen, because the qareen, he doesn't want you to ask him. He wants you to lie to yourself and say, no. You're a good Muslim, you're a good muwahid. Why? Because you know why? We like to live, sadly, in the shadow of people who are greater than us, who have already passed away. MashaAllah. I love Umar al-Khattab, but do you follow him? Why do you have to ask me that one for? That's what you need to ask yourself. That's what you need to ask yourself, to see how you can have this personal development, how you can rectify yourself. And a Muslim is all about that. Rectifying yourself. Even when we talk about the jihad, is what? Jihad, it is to rectify that very situation, to remove the harm, to remove the obstacles which stand in the way for Islam to be implemented. It's not about a matter of just holding up some Palestinian flag, some Egyptian flag, some Afghani flag, and then going to fight. That jihad is completely invalid. Why are you going and fighting for mud? For asabiyah, for nationalism? Meaning for the sake of Allah, to make His flag prevail, to make the flag of Allah Azza wa Jal, to make the flag of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, His kalima, His shahada prevail. That could be many different ways. It's not just linked or just and isolated just to the qital, to the fighting, but in any sphere where you find Islam is under attack, where you're required to be defending Islam, where are you? So how is it that you fulfill what Ali ibn Abu Talib, he said, al-khawf min al-jalil, to fear Allah Azza wa Jal wherever you are. You see, my dear brothers, in this month of Ramadan, it's very easy for us to avoid the haram. Very easy for us to avoid these things. And if we can do it outside the month of Ramadan, even better. But what about those things which are even greater than that? Even greater than that. Because al-khawf min al-jalil, if it's been described as the taqwa, to avoid the haram, then for greater reason, by greater qiyas, if you want to say that, for greater qiyas, then should you not be avoiding the kufr akbar and the shirk akbar, which takes people outside the fold of Islam, or the matters which are being promoted nowadays as Islamic? Yeah? So, like I said, asabiyah is being promoted nowadays in the name of Islam. People say, Yaki, it's part of my culture. Your culture can go to hell. You know Allah Azza wa Jalla, although He said inside the Quran, He said, we made you into nations and tribes. Why? He gave you reason. So that you may know one another. So that you may know one another. And we benefit from one another so much. Every Somali brother I met, they always say, biryani, I love it. You need to taste my biryani, it's very nice in fact, yeah? And I say, yeah. But I like the big meat and the rice, and I like the spaghetti from the Somali restaurant. And for some reason, the brothers, like brother Abu Dar, he doesn't like it. I said, you're not a real Somali then. You don't like Somali food. He said, no, it's boring. Have it all the time. I need some Asian food. So we benefit from that, yeah? But now, not to take that asabiyah and nationalism and use it as a tool to divide us. Because this is what the kuffar, they've done with us. They divided us into nations and tribes. Not that so we may know one another, so we may fight one another. You see, where is the taqwa then? Am I really a man of taqwa then? When, for example, a man, he comes to my daughter, for example, and he could be white, he could be black, and I'm Asian, yeah? Without any proudness whatsoever, but I just happen to be brown. And he asks for my daughter's hand in marriage, and he's got good deen. Do I refuse him? Or do I refuse somebody to come to my mosque if I have a mosque, if I have a masjid? Because no, you're not the right color. Or you're not from the same tribe, you're not from the same country. You're not from the same lineage, you don't have the same surname. You're not the right age, you're not the right height. Well, who's going to come inside the mosque? Going to just be you on your own, the imam on the minbar, and you're leading the prayer with nobody behind you. So you're just praying on your own. So you see, where is the taqwa? Al-Khawf min al-Jalil, wa amala bin tanzil, and to act upon the revelation. Wa amal bin tanzil, upon the revelation, upon the wahi, where do you act upon it? So you see, there's verses inside the Quran which tell you, look, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyam. What did the verse say? Oh, you believe fasting is prescribed upon you. Now there's another verse, similar to that, and I'm not telling you to do anything, by the way. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum al-qital. Same verse. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyam. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum al-qital. Oh, you who believe, fasting has been prescribed upon you. We all fast, alhamdulillah. Oh, you who believe, fighting has been prescribed upon you. Nobody fights. What are you doing with the deen? How is the wahi being acted upon? And I'm not telling you to fight, but I'm saying for the imam on the minbar, who's meant to be hafid of Quran, because my Arabic is very poor, he's the one who's hafid of Quran, he's the one who should be telling me, Ya akhi, you need to be fighting for the sake of Allah. You need to be liberating Afghanistan. You should be liberating Palestine. By whichever way. I'm not saying to go and do terrorism. We don't support terrorism. But meaning to support the Muslims who are in distress. Where is your dua on the 27th night? He's making dua, oh Allah, repair the toilet. What? Oh Allah, repair the wudu area. Oh Allah, give long life to the cab driver down the road. He broke his foot, he can't drive, he's going to lose his license. Make dua for my auntie, she can't find her powder, she can't cook the curry. What dua is that? Ad-dua huwa al-ibadah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Ad-dua huwa al-ibadah. The dua, it is ibadah. It is worship. We're not like some people that say, Yaki, we need to fight. No dua. This is all talking. This is not going to get us anywhere. No, it's all ibadah. Any action, as Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, he said, any action which is pleasing Allah Azza wa Jal, it's a form of worship. So speaking is ibadah. Like I know some people say, Yaki, no more talking now. Yaki, we need to do some action. Alright, okay. Did you know you can't get married without talking? You know, you have to say, we were talking about the marriage earlier on. You need to talk before you get married. I want to marry your daughter. Yaki, what are you talking for? Where's the action? How are you going to marry her? You're not going to marry her. You need to speak in order to get married. So don't ever belittle the speech. It both goes hand in hand. Dawah and the jihad, they both go hand in hand. And as Ibn Taymiyyah, he said, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they engage in the jihad of the word and of the sword as well. So here, we don't fight anybody. Yeah? So all this big hype is just a justification to justify this massive expenditure which the government have been given now, and the police have been given, to raid Muslims and accuse them of trying to, blow up the Olympics or carry out acts of terrorism at them. It's a complete lie, complete baloney. You know what I mean? It's an understatement. It's just a complete myth and a complete wool that they're pulling over people's eyes. Why? Because they've got an agenda there. An agenda of making money under the Terrorism Act, as well as their war against Islam. No doubt about it. But we've got an important role to play living within the West of that. Because there's been a change and a shift of strategy when you look to places like Afghanistan, when you look to places like Somalia. There's a friend of mine, or a brother I should say, I know, and he was approached by his community leaders, let's just say that, yeah? And they told him that we're worried that you're going to go to Somalia and you're going to fight with Al-Shabaab. You're going to go to Somalia and you're going to fight with the Muslims over there. And they said, in order to prevent you from doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to offer you a scholarship to go to Medina University. So you can see that how there is definitely a whole scheme and a scam, and there's a plot really against Islam within this country. It's under the guise of something called the Preventing Violent Extremism scheme or scam, where they're pumping out money and giving money to Muslim organizations inside this country to change and reform Islam according to what's palatable for the British agenda, for the British mandate, for their agenda internationally as well as domestically as well. Why? Why is that? Why did they have to do that? Why domestically and internationally? Why is there a link between the two? Why? Because they understand the hadith, which you and me, we don't understand. Hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Al-Muslimun ummatun wahida min durin nas. Ardahum wahida wa harbahum wahida. He said the Muslim ummah is one ummah with exception to all others. And his land is one, and his war is one, and his honor is one, and his peace is one, and any one of you can stand up and represent that. Meaning you're from perhaps Somalia, or you're perhaps from Pakistan. Afghanistan is your land. Afghanistan is my land. None of us here are Palestinian, but Palestine, Palestine is our land. And the man from Palestine, Somalia is his land. All of the ard, Allah al-Khaliq, He created it. And He created it for us. The ayah said, Inna jarahun fi arda khalifa. That He will place the vicegerent, the one who's going to be there. He said, Al-Muslimun ummatun wahida min duri nas. Ardahum wahida wa harbahum wahida. The Muslim ummah is one ummah with the exception to all others. Anyone can stand up and represent that. Why does that pose such a threat to the West? It poses a threat because when Muslim land starts to become occupied, I say I am Muslim first and I'm Muslim second and I'm Muslim last. I'm not Somalian, not Afghani, I'm not Pakistani. No, my allegiance is with Allah and the Messenger. So what does that mean now for the British government? That means for the British government, your allegiance, your alliance and your loyalty is not for them. Meaning when their boys are going over to Afghanistan, you're not standing up on the 27th night and making dua for them, like this stupid monkey imam from East London. He came out and he said, I hope our boys come back, in good peace, yeah. But he's making dua for them. A'udhu billah, yeah. Osama Hassan, his name is. Shame upon the name. Osama, in fact, Osama, it means, Osama doesn't mean lion. Osama means, you got that baby cub lion. He's worse than the lion. Lion, what does lion do? He just bites your head off. But the small cub lion, he's ferocious. Sometimes he'll come and he'll just whack you like that, and then he'll run back. He'll come. He likes to play fight. You get these like some little kids that they love to play fight, yeah? That is Osama. They don't want you to be like that. What they want you to be like is Mr. Moderate Chocolate Muslim, Coconut Muslim. The Coconut Muslim is the one when he hears on the news 2 British troops have been killed, he's like, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. From Allah we come and to Allah we shall return. Yeah? Let's go and pray their janazah. A'udhu billah. That's what they want you to be like. That is who the British Muslim is. That is who the Coconut Muslim is. The Coconut Muslim is the one where when your work colleagues are going around and they say, we need to remember our dead. Yeah, I'll buy one of those poppies. Can I put it there? Yeah, I'll put it on my thobe. And I wear it at Jummah as well. Are you looking for community support officer? Yeah, I'm PC Maruf. PC Jihad. A'udhu billah. How people, they become completely polluted with their deen. Their deen has become completely polluted with complete kufr ideas, with complete shirky ideas. Why? Because people, they never understood what the kitab it says, what the sunnah it says. When the ayah said, وَلَنْ تَرْضَ عَنْكَ يَهُودْ وَلَا النَّصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. Jew and Christian will never be pleased with you, never be satisfied with you, never be happy with you until حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. We don't understand it. So when we talk about at-taqwa now, in the month of Ramadan, what the hell is that got to do with prevent strategy in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and Shishan, and Somalia? It's got everything to do with it. How? Because we link it now as a political lesson for us. I don't like to use the word politics, by the way, yeah? But we link it as a lesson for the struggle between munkar and maruf, between the camp of Tawheed and the camp of Shirk, between the camp of the West, which is waging a war against Islam, and the Islamists, or the Islamists, whatever you want to call it, whatever terms you want to call it. But Ahl Tawheed is a better term. Ahl Wala wal Bara and Ahl Dawah wal Jihad. Those people who stand up and they said, we're not going to tolerate man-made law to be above our head, and neither are we going to tolerate kuffar to occupy our lands, kill us, murder us, rape us. Rather, we're going to stand up and we're going to defend the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is what is misunderstood about the month of Ramadan. What is exactly the month of Ramadan? Shahrullah, the month for Allah Azza wa Jal. We don't understand it. And if we look now to the khutbah of Rasulullah, and this is very summarized, I've made it for you. Just a couple of words from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You will see how much has been mentioned about food. How much has been mentioned about samosa, gulab jamun, biryani. I don't know, what's your favorite dish? Biryani, sir. Biryani, you like biryani? What about you on? Huh? Samosa. What about you? You know, it doesn't have a favorite dish yet. In Ramadan, you'll get a favorite dish, don't worry. By the end of mid-Ramadan, you'll decide this is what I like a lot. Dates, let's say dates, for example. Yeah? Dates is good with Rasulullah. In fact, he survived on dates alone for a couple of months, him and Bilal. So he said, oh believers, the month of Ramadan is close to you. And this is words which he used to give every year, just a few days before the month of Ramadan it used to enter. So who better to give us khutbah about Ramadan than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Forget me now. Forget Abu Muhammad. Forget any other brother or sheikh. He's going to come and give you a nice khutbah. Ayaki, what it is Jazakallah, yani, and Jazakallah here, and £1 please, and £5 please, and Jazakallah, and we need money for the mosque. And Imam, he's just getting rich, and his wife, she's got gold teeth, and extensions are being built on the mosque, and the mosque is never really getting built. He said, "Oh believers, the month of Ramadan is close to you. When it enters, it is the best month in the eyes of Allah." Oh my God, really? It's better than any other month in the year. Why? Because he said, Shahrullah. It is the month of Allah. You know, in this month, nobody really knows about your niyyah when it comes to the fasting. You know, brother said, he said you should renew your niyyah every night or do it at the start, yeah? But nobody really knows about your niyyah. Outside the month of Ramadan, you can do everything for everybody else. Like the man, he's leading the prayer, and he reads Surah Al-Fatiha, and then he reads perhaps Surah Al-Baruj, and then he can hear some footsteps, and people are gathering behind him, and he says, "Oh, mashallah, big crowd behind me now." Surah Al-Baqarah. Yeah? And he starts big, long surah on Ali Imran. This guy's, what is he doing? He's like 2/3 of the Quran. He's never going to finish. And end up missing the whole. It goes all the way up from Dhuhr until Asr, and we end up going till Maghrib. And he's still leading the prayer. That's an action which is known as shirk riyah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, the thing that I fear for you the most is what? It's not the big shirk. He said the shirk riyah, the hidden shirk. When you do an action, but it's not for the sake of Allah. It's for the sake of somebody else. Yaki, you like my beard? MashaAllah. Better than yours, isn't it? MashaAllah. Very good. So you start to show off with the beard. You start to show off with your garments. You start to show off with your good deeds. Yaki, how much did you give for the mosque this week? Me, £5. Is that it? Let me show you. And he licks them as well. He doesn't just get it out like that. He gets to get out of his wallet. He goes, he's like a dog, you know, he's like licking all of the notes, yeah? And he goes, "Here is £50, you know, like me, you know what I mean?" And then he gives it to the man. And just before he's about to give it to the man, he snatches it back. He says, "Make sure you write my name on the wall as well. Tell Mr. Khan he gave £50 to the mosque as well." He wants to do actions, but not for the sake of Allah. He wants to do it for the sake of other people. And then when he's leaving, he stops. So everybody, he wants to see who's noticed that I gave £50. Mr. Khan gave, and everyone's patting him on the back. "Mr. Khan, you're so good. Mr. Khan, you're so great. Mr. Khan, you're the best." So actions like this, they're completely invalid. And outside the month of Ramadan, it's very easy for us to do that. Because who knows your real intention? Everybody else is praising him. Everybody else is saying, "Look, mashallah, he's so good, he's so this, he's so that." And this is action which has been so much dispraised by Allah and by the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In fact, the hadith spoke about the man who would come on Yawm al-Qiyamah, spoke about 3 who would come on Yawm al-Qiyamah. The mujahid, the charity man, and the one who was like the qari, or the one who was the scholar. And they'll be asked from all 3. Be asked, "What did you do for my sake?" The man who used to give charity, he said, "I used to spend in the cause of Allah." No. You used to spend for people that used to call you the generous one. And you earned that in the dunya, you got your reward in the dunya. Now take your seat within the hellfire. And then there would be the one who was the scholar, the teacher, and or the one who was the qari, the one who was teaching people. What did you do? "Oh, I spread your deen. I used to give da'wah, I used to give talks, I used to do this, I used to do that." No. You wanted people to call you the knowledgeable one. People, they called you that, now take your place within the hellfire. And thirdly, the greatest one in fact, the mujahid would come. "What did you do?" "I was fighting for your sake." Really? What for? For people to call me, for people to call you the brave one. In fact, yes. And people called you the brave one, now take your seat within the hellfire. So the niyyah, outside the month of Ramadan, nobody really knows about it. But inside the month of Ramadan, that is the month of Allah. Because you know why? Some people will say, "Yaki, I'm going to pray." Why? "It helps me to lose weight." "Oh, what?" Yeah? "We're going to give charity for?" "I don't know. I just got too much money, I don't know where to put it. Or there's some riba I got, I need to get rid of it. Or some haram money, maybe some drug money or whatever it is, I need to get rid of it." But in the month of Ramadan, when you're sitting next to me and I'm sitting next to you, when we're praying together, Salat al-Asr, or Salat al-Dhuhr, or Salat al-Fajr, and we're fasting, and we're starving, and we're ready to collapse with 16.5-hour fast, in fact, coming up. Who knows if you're really fasting or not? Like you see some people, they come at the time of iftar. With the Khan Chaudhry, hey, bada cha kebab go, very nice kebab they're going to have today inside the mosque. And you're thinking to yourself, "I'm ready to collapse, I'm ready to drop, I'm ready to die. You know, where's my date, where's my milk? Oh God, I can't handle it anymore." This guy, he's full of energy, he's like a champion, he's coming there like Superman. This man, you know why? Because he was on fasting. He fooled you there. And you're thinking to yourself, this man Jahil, he got no beard, he doesn't pray, I never seen him in the mosque before, he's joking, laughing, he's talking about women, talking about cigarettes and all this, that and the other. How can he be handling the fast? Because he never took benefit from the month of Ramadan. He sat there to show you that I'm doing it for the sake of Allah, but in fact he was just doing it for his own belly. Sleeping all day long. And people like this. I remember I went to one chicken and chip shop. I said to them, what time they pray the Taraweeh? I'm not sure what time they pray the Taraweeh. They said, oh, so-and-so time. I said, you're not going to pray the Taraweeh? He said, what Taraweeh? He said, we don't even fast. So proud, so arrogant. He said, we don't even fast. How are you telling us to pray Taraweeh? I said, what, you don't fast? He said, fast? He goes, we don't even pray. I said, he's so proud of it. He goes, I don't fast. I don't pray. Yeah, I said, so what? I go, if you don't pray, you can't be considered to be a Muslim. He starts joking. He calls the other one from the back. He's telling us we're not even Muslim. Look at, what do you want? 2 pieces of chicken and chips? I said, no thanks. No thanks, I don't want anything from you. Can't be joking with the deen of Allah. So some people, month of Ramadan is what? A month just to make some money. Just to be crook. And just to deceive other people. Just to go from mosque to mosque and get some free biryani out of it. To try taste, sample, boo, 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 boo. And be aware of crooks as well. I remember I was with Abu Zadeen once in Regent's Park Mosque. There was a little Chinese man that came there. Obviously, we assume he's Muslim. He's inside the mosque. And he's prayed the salah with us. And then he said to us, I'm a traveling poet. I write poetry about love. He showed us his poetry. I need some money because I'm Musafir. I said, all right, no problem. Haq, in fact, as well. Musafir, you should look after him. I said, what do you need the money for? He goes, I need to buy some new shoes. I said, what's wrong with the shoes that you got on? He goes, they're too small for me. I said, all right then. And I looked at Abu Zadeen. I said, what do you think of this guy? Well, I ain't got no money anyway. I'm broke as well. Ahl broke. Anyway, no problem. So, remember, this is after iftar, by the way. So we're waiting for Isha to come in. I said, Salatul Asr, I said to him, the Chinese man, just to test him. I said, Salatul Asr, it's about what, 11:30 p.m.? And he said, yes. I said, get out of here. You're a Chinese man coming here asking me for money for shoes. You might be praying Asr, what, 11:30 at night? This man is a complete crook. And many people like that. They're coming inside the mosque, and I've heard the people, they tell me themselves, a lot of people, they come. Obviously, what can you do? The better thing to do is to give them money, to just help people. Some people, they have this thing where, when you're traveling in the car, and you see these women, they look like Muslimah, but they're not actually Muslimah, they're Romanians and stuff like that. They beg for money, I'm sure you've seen it. And they come and wipe their cars. Some people say, no, I'm not going to give them any money. Some people, they start to swear at them. Don't do that, my dear brothers. Don't swear at them, and don't say you're not going to give them any money. In fact, give them something. Even if they don't wipe the car, or they wipe the car, or they don't do anything, give them. You know why? Because it's better than what they could be doing. Always remember that. The woman, she's obviously in need of money. Even if she's crook, we don't know that. I'm not saying it's sadaqah, I'm not saying it's a form of charity, but it's better than that chav girl from the estate, who's becoming a prostitute and selling her body. At least this one, she's almost covered, and she's maybe even lying. I mean, I caught a lot of these people out anyway. They say we're Muslim. I say, you're Muslim? What's the shahada? What? Me if you speak no English, inshallah. Okay, what's the shahada? I don't know shahada. What's your name? Donald. You can't be Muslim with a name like Donald. Okay? But doesn't matter though. Better to give them money and don't do dhulm upon the people. And you never know. Sometimes your actions could be a form of dawah. Someone could see from your character, look how nice this person is. He is. Look, even though, I know I'm crook, I'm evil, I'm this, I'm that. But, this person, he's a Muslim. Like I know, one brother was telling me about a gang of youth. They went from one area to another to go and do some robberies. So they're just going from street to street and just robbing people, just jacking them. What you got, fam? Like that, yeah? You got £1, you got this, you got that, blah, 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 grab his mobile phone, all this, that, and the other. Until one of them, he turned around, it's a Muslim boy, and he assumed they were Muslim as well. I don't know how he came to that conclusion, but they weren't. But he said, "Taqillah" to them, yeah? And they said, you what? What did you say? Because they're kafir, by the way. And he said, "Fear Allah." And he said, "Oh, you're an Aki." Because they know these words, Aki. You're Muslim? He said, yeah. He said, okay, you know what, take your mobile phone back. So something happened at that very moment. Allah knows what happened with these people afterwards. Maybe they looked into Islam. So something that we need to consider. Actions are very important. So he said, it is the month, it is the best month in the eyes of Allah, and it is the month of Allah. And it is the month which Allah He favors. And His days are the best days, and His nights is the best nights. And each day is the best day in this month. And one night is better than 1,000 months. Meaning what? You gain less than that. In this month of Ramadan is not about, okay, well I'm not going to eat from the time of suhoor up until the time of iftar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sleep. Oh, mashallah, he's dreaming. Or all night he does qiyamul layl. Where? Next to the refrigerator. He opens the fridge door and he's just sitting there with his legs folded, big belly out, knife and fork, eating everything from the fridge. Once he starts with the fridge, he finishes with the freezer, goes back to the fridge, goes back to the microwave in case he missed something, opens up the oven door, and then he sleeps right next to the refrigerator like this. What's for dinner now? He wakes up, and he's hungry now, he's starving now. He's just been sleeping all night, eating food. It's not like that. It's not like that. Here, Rasulullah said, its days is the best days, and the month is the best of all months. And every day inside this month is something benefit for you. Meaning it's a time for you to think. It's a time for you to contemplate. And it is a time you can think about the poor people. When you're starving, you can remember those people who don't have food. When you're getting a little bit hot and you're getting your thobe and your kameez and your jubba is getting a little bit sticky to you, you can remember those people who don't even have any clothing. They only have one piece of clothing. They don't know where their next piece of clothing is going to come from. I saw a picture last night, in fact. It was on the Facebook. Some people call it the fitna book. I saw it on the Facebook, and it was a picture of a man. He's obviously in an African country somewhere. He didn't have no shoes. What he had was 2 bottles, plastic bottles, you know the one which you drink water with, and there's a piece of rope, and it was tied round his feet. And he walks on those bottles. Plastic bottles, that's what he's got. Subhanallah. Compare that to our situation. MashaAllah. Crep check all day long. He's got different pairs of Nike trainers, Adidas. He's got one for the Monday, one for a Thursday. He's got one for that type of jeans. The long boot. He's got the Air Force Ones. He's got the Air Max. He's got the Nikes, the 70s, the Jordans. All different types. Jordan. All of every state you can think of. He's got all of the different ones. Jordan. They're not Muslim, by the way. In case you think the Jordan ones are Muslim, you see, because it's Jordan. Let me get the Palestinian ones as well. There's nothing like that. Jordan is after the basketball player, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Michael Jordan, yeah, Mikhail Jordan. Make him Muslim, inshallah. Yeah, but what were we talking about? I forgot now. Remember the poor people. Good. You remembered. So remember the poor people. Remember those people who don't have those trainers. Remember those people who don't have the kameez. Remember those people who can't benefit from what you benefit from. Look to what we sleep on. We sleep on a nice bed. And sometimes we have to shuffle the pillow over twice. So we have to decide, can we have the window open? Should we have the windows closed? There's a documentary I was watching once of one man inside Palestine, and he was crying. Old man, Allah grant him Jannah. He was outside his house, and his house had been destroyed by the Israelis. You know the Israelis, the way they terrorize the people? They don't just drop bombs on people's heads. They have something called a sonic boom. A sonic boom is basically, you know when something reaches a particular speed, it causes a boom. It goes whoosh. If you've seen an aircraft, aircraft when it goes, you can hear it now in fact, it's going whoosh, like that, yeah? It trembles the buildings. And he goes, these Israelis, they do it every single night. And he said, this is the 3rd time that my house has been completely destroyed. Completely destroyed. His house was completely, it's like a big house. It's not some small house full of, big bricks and big, concrete slabs. His house has been completely destroyed. What do we complain about? Yaki, my housing benefit has not gone through. Oh, I'm stuck in a 2-bedroom flat. I need a 3-bedroom. Why can't I get an extension on my back garden? Oh, I've got a small Fiat. I want a Renault Clio, whatever it is. I want a Mercedes Benz. Consider that. Consider that. It is a chance for you to think. Many people, they'll be complaining, 16.5-hour fast. Yeah, I don't think we have to fast. It's August. It's hot. We only fast in December. Why are you, some nation of shaitan or something? Nation of Islam, these people who believe in a false Nabi, they fast in December. You know that? They have their Eid in December as well, from what I heard anyway. I don't know if it's true or not. But they do it in December. They don't do it any other month. Makes sense. You know what I mean? Small days and long nights. It's easy, isn't it? You start fasting from 8 a.m., you finish by 3 p.m., innit? It's already dark. You know what I mean? Not bad of a fast. On top of that, you do all of the hip-hop music and dancing and jumping and lumping and do everything you want. So, it's the month, which Rasulullah said, one night is better than 1,000 months. Notice here, nothing has been mentioned about food yet. Or nothing has been mentioned about refraining. And it's the month of irada, claiming back your free will, meaning and killing your bad habits. The month of irada. There's something called irada, which is your free will to do something out of your own free will, but you haven't been given a choice. Meaning what? Meaning Allah Azza wa Jal has told you this is right and this is wrong. And then He's given you something called free will, meaning whatever you do is on your neck, but He never gave you the choice. So you can't come on Yawm al-Qiyamah and say, oh Allah, you forced me to do my action. Like some deviants they say. Or I didn't know what I was doing. No. You've been given free will, meaning you are the one who's going to decide whether you're going to go that way or you're going to go that way. But that's your own decision-making process that you've made. But in terms of the choices and the options available to you, there aren't none. There's nothing called freedom. So we can use this part of his khutbah where he said it's the month of irada to destroy this whole idea which people they push to us and they say, Yaki, Islam and democracy, they're both exactly the same. Why? Because we also have freedom as well. Because you know why? We become very defensive as Muslims, coconut Muslims. They become very defensive. So when they say, oh, you people, you don't allow equal rights to the women, we start to become defensive and say, yeah, man and a woman, they both have equal rights, when it's completely wrong. There's nothing called equality between a man and a woman. Inside Islam, there's called her rights and your rights. You know, for a man, if he's married to 2 wives, are you married? Not yet, inshallah. You have 2 wives, yeah? Hopefully very nice one. nice wives, yeah? Women who remind you of Al-Mu'mineen, inshallah. But if you got 2 wives, for example, one is like this, and one is like a big sumo wrestler, yeah? And she carries a big bowl of bananas on top of her head, yeah? Hopefully you just have 2 of the first one anyway, yeah? But Allah bless us with wives anyway. But if you've got 2 wives, and one is like a matchstick, one is like, you know those crisps that you get? And there's ones which are like chips, and there's salt and vinegar. They're like sticks, yeah? And then you got one of those, a wife like that, and you got another one which is a bit like the onion ring, yeah? Or a bit like the Monster Munch, yeah? Yeah? And they're both hungry. Are you going to give both of them half a piece of bread each? You're not. What are you going to give them? Islam tells you to be just between the wives. So you would give them each what they're due, what they need, in accordance to their need. So we're not like communists, and we're not like capitalists who completely deprive people and completely oppress people. So the thin wife, you would give her, for example, 1 slice of bread. Now the one who's the heavyweight champion, the one who weighs about 55 stone, yeah? The one who can basically knock you out with her little fingers, just go like that and you go flying across the other side of the room. Give her half a slice of bread and let me know what happens. Next week, let me know what happens. You won't be here next week because you'll knock you out, yeah? The big onion ring, you need to give her something a little bit more than that. 2 pieces of bread with a piece of cheese inside the middle. And after that, she'll probably say, well, where's the rest of the loaf? You know what I mean? So you just give her the whole bread like that. And 1 block of cheese. Hey, here's your sandwich. You know what I mean? Yeah? Just make it yourself, yeah? That's your sandwich. You got nothing to complain about. You got nothing to worry about. So, Islam completely destroys this idea. Nothing called that. Nothing called equality. Nothing called freedom of choice. Freedom of belief. In Islam, we don't have nothing like that. Every democracy has 4 components. Freedom of belief, freedom of ownership, freedom of expression, freedom to buy and sell whatever they want. All 4 of them. In Islam, can we do any of them? Can I buy and sell whatever I want? Can I sell prostitute? I can't. Freedom of expression, can I swear? No, I can't. Freedom of belief, can I become Sikh one day to do Bagra dance and become Christian the other day and, kiss a cross and become a Jew and bang my head and then Friday, mashallah, Jummah Muslim. No, I can't do that. So nothing called that. Nothing called freedom of ownership, freedom of choice, personal freedom. There's nothing called personal freedom. Yaki, I feel like being gay, faggot today. No, you can't. Who told you that? Maybe John told you that, because John, he's bent like that anyway. Yeah, but in Islam, there's nothing called freedom of, sexuality. You can't do that. Anal sex, for example, haram, prohibited. It's not allowed in Islam. Can someone say, I feel like doing anal sex? You can feel like doing whatever you want, mate. On Yawm al-Qiyamah, you're going to get punished for that. I don't care what you feel like doing. Oh, I feel like this, I feel like that. La yu'minu ahadakum hatta hawa'una. Rasulullah said, none of you is a true believer until his own hawa, it is in line with what I came with. Taqwa hahuna, hahuna, hahuna. And he pointed 3 times towards the heart. The taqwa is here, manifested on the tongue. Qawlun wa amalun wa i'tiqad. Saying, action and belief. It's the components of our iman. So we need to look, when it comes to our irada, our free will, is it for the sake of Allah? Do we use it to worship Allah Azza wa Jal? Because although you haven't been given a choice, but you've been given the free will. You can either go to the mosque, or you can go to the nightclub. Which one are you going to do now? The choice is not there, but on Yawm al-Qiyamah, you'll be paid your due in regards to that. And then he said, to claim back your irada, and to kill like your bad habits. And wallahi, we have these bad habits which we develop, which even though they're mubah, they're permissible, but we'll give them up. Yeah? We'll give them up. For example, what happens is in the month of Ramadan, or not even in the month of Ramadan, say for example at work, you're used to having 1 kebab, 1 doner kebab. Small one please, meal number 2, yeah? Because some people, they know all the numbers in it. Meal number 1 is usually 1 piece of chicken and chips, yeah? Meal number 2 is like a burger, chips and a drink. The meal number 3 is like, you get a burger, 2 wings, and chips and a drink. Then some people are like, I need to have meal number 10. Some people, brothers, are just like that. They're the onion ring, monster munch. Yeah? Monster munch. So they're like meal number 10. Yaki, what are you having? Meal number 10. Some people are like, I'll take it. What? Yeah, 1 to 10, I'll have all of them, one by one. This guy's a champion. This guy's another different kind of breed, you know what I mean, yeah? I don't know what kind of diet you've got, yeah? But that's crazy. You're going to die like that, yeah? So some people, they're like that. And what happens is, shaitan comes to them. When at lunchtime he misses his meal number 10, or meal number 1, when it comes then after work, he says, you know what, I'm going to die. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go home, get my wife, go to the restaurant, and usually he has 1 kebab. He says, let me have 10 kebabs. It's a bad habit. Why? Because he thinks, I need to make up for the whole of the day. So in this month of Ramadan, you can claim back your irada and kill off your bad habits. But you need to do that yourself, because your bad habit can still carry on with you from day to day. So you have bad habit of eating unhealthy food. So in the month of Ramadan, you start doing all of that. I remember I went to one brother's house. I mention it every year. I went to his house here, and he had food. Allah bless him. Allah reward him. But he had food going from, like from the living room all the way to the other end of the out of the door, in the corridor. There's a lot of plates. He wanted to feed me, mashallah. He knows who he is anyway. So there's no akiba, no backbiting or anything like that. Yeah, it was lovely food. But I said, yeah, Sheikh, it's too much for me. I'm not used to that much. Because even when the other brothers, they will say, you're all talking, no action. You incite people, but you never do nothing yourself. You know what they're talking about? Food. Because I always tell them, yaki, nice kebab, nice biryani. When it comes down to it, I have 2-3 bites and I'm completely full. Just the way my stomach is, I can't eat that much. Yeah. But some people, they got this habit. I need to eat that all day long. I can't go any day of the week without meat. Yeah, Sheikh, where's the meat? Got a vegetable for you today. What am I going to do with vegetable? What do I look like to you? Yeah, I need meat every day. Month of Ramadan, you can kill off these bad habits. And you can see the fruit of it yourself. If you experienced Ramadan before, I'm sure you will have, you can see the barakah of Ramadan. 16.5-hour fast. I'm dying. I'm going to fall over. Call the ambulance. Call the CIA. Call the MI5. Call the Mujahideen. Call this, that and the other. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. One day. You're full. Doesn't it happen? There's barakah within the day. Barakah within the day. Once you have it, that's it. You're thinking, what was I complaining about? All that time, in the mosque it happens. When they start giving out the free food, oh my God. It's like, WWE, like with the over-the-top match, yeah, where you go throw everybody over, and then at the end of it, you are the heavyweight champion. It becomes like that. Wallahi, I've seen it. It's like, people have got like, they're giving each other looks, you know that? Damn, took my samosa. Then the Imam, he called the adhan. Let me have a look over there. Quick, grab it. Put it in his plate, yeah? And everyone, the plate is coming around with a bit of samosas, and everyone's like, instead to make dua, instead to make dhikr, instead to make a remember of Allah, instead to ask Allah to forgive him, he's like, yeah. Get off. Mine. That's it. And he's got his big plate there, and he's got everything there. And then he looks at someone else, wow, milkshake, and they never told me about the milkshake. Yeah. He's like, give me that, yeah. That's all it becomes about. He hasn't given up his bad habits of overeating, of being lazy, of anger management. There's a film called that as well. But people, they got anger management issues. You can see in Ramadan, Allah will expose some people, you know that. He's a nice brother, mashallah. He was praying next to me. He was so much khushu, and he was feet to feet and shoulder to shoulder. When it comes to the food, this guy has become like, I don't know what it is. I know what wrestlers are around now, yeah? Becomes like the Undertaker guy, you know what I mean? Or something like that, yeah? He's proper like, he's got his hand up like that, and he takes his hat off like that, and his eyes go at the back of his head. You know what I mean? And he's just walking around like that with dates in his hand and his biryani in the other hand as well. And he's ready to kill anybody. It's like a murder field trip going on now. You know what I mean? Everything goes out of the window. Except those people who Allah He blesses in the month of Ramadan. And I remember one brother telling me about Belmarsh prison. I know a lot of brothers who've been in prison. And I know a lot of brothers in prison as well. Allah release them all, inshallah. And some of the stories you hear is beautiful. A brother, he took Shahada last week, and he's fasting. And it's his first Ramadan. And he's giving all of his food to the rest of his brothers. Look how Allah He guides someone and beautifies their character, beautifies their deen. That he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. Look to that hadith. The one who loves his brother what he loves for himself. In the month of Ramadan, it's a test for you now. Allah wants you to prove that now. Do you really love your brother? What are you doing for your brother? Are you really ready to give up your dates for him? Are you really ready to give up some food for him? This is the test from Allah Azza wa Jal. This is very funny, by the way. Whilst I'm speaking to you now, I feel like I've done this talk before. And I've seen you brothers before. I don't know, something just happened to me. Maybe. deja vu or whatever it is. It's just like something happened to me just there for a moment, and I'm just thinking to myself that this is a reoccurring event. But nevertheless, don't do that. And it is the month of barakah. It's the month of reward. It's been described as the month of reward, meaning any deed that you do, you'll get twice the reward for it, or the reward for it is multiplied. Like I said to you before, put anything on the exam paper and you'll get double the reward for it. Meaning whatever action you used to do outside the month of Ramadan, do it more now. Why are you going to get more reward for it? And he said it is the month of ibadah, month of worship. And it is the month of the Quran. And it is the month of African people. No. It's the month of conquering. For the African and the non-African people. For everybody. It is the month of conquering. You can see now, these are not my words. These are the words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Does that fit what the Imam will tell you on the mimbar? Aki, it's about the poor people inside the Africa. It's about the uncle who lost his foot. It's about the auntie who can't cook properly. It's about for us to maybe learn how to sing songs. No, nothing like that. It's in fact, it's a whole month of Islam. And he said, it is the month. Then he said, it's the month of Sawm. It's the month of fasting. So Ramadan has a bigger meaning than what people they misunderstand. But you see the point I'm trying to make just with these small words, and I've cut down the khutbah. In fact, there's more to it. There's different wordings and there's various ahadith with regards to the month of Ramadan. Is that we're out of touch when it comes really to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're out of touch with the seerah of Rasulullah and who was Rasulullah. What was his mission? What was his personality? What would he do if he was alive today? We're fighting nowadays over the Taraweeh. Is it 8 rakah or is it 20 rakah? Ask yourself the sincere question. Just by looking to the seerah of Rasulullah. If Rasulullah was alive today, where would his Taraweeh be? Would it be inside Finsbury Park Mosque? Would it be in Acton Mosque? Hackney Mosque? South London Mosque? Would it be in a horse maybe inside Afghanistan? Would it be, where would it be? What would he be doing? Would Rasulullah be silent when Palestine is being occupied? Would Rasulullah tell you to clean the mosque on the mimbar for the Jummah khutbah when Syria is being slaughtered, massacred, complete ethnic cleansing as they call it, meaning complete nation of Muslims are being completely wiped out? What would Rasulullah do? So this is something, a lesson that we can gain. And he said, and it's a month which Allah has invited you as a guest to visit Him. Oh my God. You are a guest of Allah Azza wa Jal. Imagine now, a postcard comes through your door. Not postcard. Forget postcard. Old era. Inbox comes to you on Facebook. Someone's added you as a friend. Who is it? Khalid bin Waleed. Khalid bin Waleed. Which one? Khalid bin Waleed, man. The one from the time of the Sahaba. And he said, I want you to be a guest at my house for iftar. What are you going to do? You lose your speech. Khalid bin Waleed has asked me to be a guest. Rasulullah said, this is a month which Allah has invited you to be a guest of Him, and you are the honor of Allah Azza wa Jal. What does that mean? You are the honor of Allah Azza wa Jal, meaning you are the izzah of Islam. That's why Umar al-Khattab, he said, نَحْنُ قَوْمًا أَعِزَّ اللَّهِ بِالْإِسْلام. He said, we are a people who are elevated and dignified by Islam. We were people who used to be humiliated by the kufr, and Islam, it came to dignify us. And that's why the hadith in Sunan al-Bayhaqi and in al-Tirmidhi, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Al-Islam ya'lu wa la yu'la alayh. Islam is superior and nothing can supersede it. Islam is higher. Meaning as a Muslim, I should always walk with my head up high. Proud. Not with takabbur. Not arrogancy. But proud that I'm a Muslim. And Allah Azza wa Jalla said that in the Quran. Who is better than the one who calls to the deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla and calls himself a Muslim? Somebody is proud, he walks and he says, I'm a Muslim. And you look down to the kuffar, look down to the Yahud and the Nasara and the Mushrikeen. I'm not like you people. Al-Islam ya'lu wa la yu'la alayh. And a Muslim is higher than anything else. Why? Because usually you would worship something which is higher than you. So the one who worships a monkey, who's higher? Him or the monkey? The monkey. The one who worships the elephant, who is higher? Him or the elephant? So what about the Muslim? When Musa alayhi salam, Allah Azza wa Jalla informed him, He said, you are indeed highest. You are higher than the kuffar. Why? Because you are a believer. You are a Muslim. Who is better than the one who calls to the deen of Allah and calls himself a Muslim? Al-Islam ya'lu wa la yu'la alayh. And in fact the ulama, you know what they said? Imam Malik and Imam Shafi, and I can't remember which of the which said which, but they both differ on one matter. They both said that either the toe or the toenail of the worst Muslim in the world, most fajr Muslim, is better than all of the kuffar. One said toenail, one said toe. Meaning go home tonight, just before you make wudu, yeah? Look to your own toe and ask yourself the question, hey, that's my big toe. Yeah, it's better than all of the kuffar. And then say, no, maybe it's not my toe, maybe it's my toenail. Doesn't matter how dirty it is, but that's better than all of the kuffar. You see how Islam may come to bless us? And then he said, and this is the best month. Your sleeping in this month is ibadah, but not sleep all day long. And your breathing in this month is an act of ibadah. But that's just for you, by the way. It's not for your brother, by the way, yeah? So don't start to go and start breathe on everybody. Yeah? Some flowers for you, some gulab jamun for you, some biryani for you. No, you got, it's like, the smell is being described as musk, as misk, yeah? But don't start to offend your brother. Ha, 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 ha. You start to, flowers everywhere. Everybody starts to become happy. No, don't do that, yeah? That's just for you. And he said, so is the breathing of the birds, the animals, the trees, and the mountains. All of them, they worship Allah Azza wa Jal. Look, we can gain lesson from this. How? That even the birds, even the trees, even the mountains, even they all worship Allah Azza wa Jal. But what about us? How is it that the bird can worship Allah Azza wa Jal? There's one particular bird, it does like this dhikr early in the morning. I forget it, which bird it is. I think it's a cockerel or something like that. But what about us? Fajr? Sleeping, he's snoring all the way until Asr. Don't do that. Yeah? And your deeds are accepted. And your dua, your supplication is also accepted. So it's the month where we can make dua for the poor. Make dua for those people who are miskeen, those people who are less fortunate than you. And I'll finish it very shortly. Ask Allah with full awareness and certainty and conviction. I mean, when you make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal, make dua as if Allah Azza wa Jal, He's going to respond to that particular dua, no matter what you're asking for. When you are thirsty and hungry, remember the thirst and hunger on Yawmul Qiyamah. Something for us to remember. And donate to the needy people, and be kind to your youngest. Treat them nicely, and benefit from the elders, meaning those people who are older than you, and learn from them and respect them. Meaning it's a month where you can seek ilm, seek knowledge. There's a majlis of circle going on. Start to increase in your visitation to that particular circle. In fact, pester the one who's giving that circle. Let's have more. Let's do it on a Monday and a Friday. Let's do it on a Thursday and a Tuesday. Let's do it Monday to Friday if we can. Don't think that it's overdoing it. There's nothing called overdoing it in the month of Ramadan. It's ibadah to Allah. And it could be your and mine last Ramadan. We don't know if we're going to reach the next Ramadan. And then he said, do not do what Allah forbids, and do not say or hear what Allah He forbids. Help the orphans, treat them good, hold up your hands and do good acts, and do da'wah. And there's more to it, but I'll leave it there. And do da'wah and invite people to Islam. So it's a month more than what we think. It's a month where our perception of it has unfortunately been diluted and been completely corrupted, in fact, by the Western model of Islam, or the Western model of Ramadan. Now, Ramadan is just about the African people or the poor people. It's nothing like that. Or just abstaining from food. It is Shahr Allah. It's the month of Allah. I was going to talk to you about the mistakes made in the month of Ramadan, but I think that's a whole other topic on its own. Or maybe we can talk about that a little later on, inshallah, at another point. If there's anything good I said, it's all from Allah. Any mistakes that are all by my own. Wa sallallahu sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Jazakallah khairan.
رسول أهل العزائم ما دنسوا لي حمانا لو طوقته الضراغم حثالة البغي صالت فأين عهد